morning, everybody. First up, an introductory lesson into the art of upcycling with easy projects you can tackle all by yourself at home. Here to show us is the founder of the fashion brand Looptworks, Scott Hamlin. It's good to meet you.
Very nice to be here. Thank you.
I was commenting earlier, you've got such great stuff here. When I think of upcycling, I guess I didn't realize that your imagination could take you this far.
Yeah, so the intent of upcycling is actually to bring value to the materials themselves. And so we use that design as that value add to it so that you end up with beautiful products.
And there are some really great, things that I would think are brand new in the store. So let's get started.
Yeah.
How do you select the materials? Because you have to have an eye for what you're trying to do and what you can use.
Sure. So the first thing is there's two types of materials. There's what's called pre-consumer, and those are the materials that get left over in manufacturing, but they don't get used. So they're usually brand new. And the second one is post-consumer, which are things that do get used.
We have our own house.
And so there's a little bit of a split and a difference in how we deal with those.
Where do you find the pre-consumer things?
Yeah, so those, we partner with a lot of big brands who, a lot of those materials get left over and they don't want to incinerate or landfill them, so they contact us and we partner together with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next step?
Yeah, so the next step is we get lots of different types of materials and funny things like an airplane seat. This is an airplane seat from Alaska Airlines right here in Seattle.
I've probably been on this seat.
Yes. And so,
where'd you get it?
So we partner with Alaska, and whenever they change out their planes, they have to get rid of the leather, and they were throwing it away, and so they contacted us, and we create products out of it. But
that's amazing.
The thing that we do is we are a certified B Corp, so we want to have environmental and social impact to what we do. So we partner with nonprofits that employ adults with disabilities, and we teach them how to clean and deconstruct. So that's our first step in upcycling, is sorting out the materials and cleaning them up and deconstructing them.
And figuring out what we can use them for.
Yeah,
so
I'll show you
through the steps.
I'll show you one of those pieces right here. This is a booty, a fly fishing booty from Patagonia. And there were some problems with it, so it didn't go to market, and we said, what can we do with it?
Okay, watch out. You've got the pretty professional version of this thing.
One of the tools of the trade. This is an electric cutting machine here.
Love it.
And we just run through it like this.
Watch your fingers.
And the whole goal on this is to get to something that's flat. So we would finish cutting that up all the way to get to a flat item.
And then that gives you kind of the maximum amount of material.
Exactly. So then we can start with that. The next step on the whole process is we either use chalk, these are little chalk pens, or Sharpies.
Love those things. Yeah. Let's use the chalk pen. That's
fun. In this particular case, we're going to use, this is an NBA jersey, so we have a partnership with the NBA. And anytime a player gets traded, they can't use the jersey anymore, and they can't commercialize the jersey.
Right,
and so
but they've got a bunch of them.
They've got a bunch of them. So anytime LeBron James goes to LA or any of that type of thing, those jerseys get left over, and we intercept those jerseys. So the next step on that would be to take the chalk or a Sharpie, and we've created designs. And in that design process, we look at how do we create items that will use the most amount of the material and still be something that makes sense. In this particular case, we're going to do a hip pack, which is right here.
It's going to look like this.
So it would look like that. Whoops, we got things falling.
I'll grab that one.
And so this hip pack was created from one of these Golden State Warrior jerseys.
That is amazing.
And so part of that process is we'll lay a pattern piece like this.
You already know what you need.
And you lay the pattern over the design of the jersey and figure out where you want to do that and where you want to trace the pattern from there.
And then it's going to be sewn together on the corners.
That's right.
So much
and then
sense.
It turns, and so this is a really easy item for us because it's actually only 2 pattern pieces. Some things are more involved and have multiple.
It's just front, back, and a zipper.
Yeah, and so in this particular case, here's the piece. If I were to trace this out, and this happens to be a well-known Seattleite who played for the Blazers.
Yes,
I think you might know Brandon Roy. So that was one of his old jerseys, and you basically come through and you want to just trace around your pattern pieces. And you'll do that all the way around. Can we find patterns like
this to do stuff at home?
Absolutely. This is just made from a cardboard box. So there's really, in this particular case...
But I mean, where do you find the actual patterns?
Oh, the actual patterns, you can either look at patterns online or you can create what you want, because there's some sewing classes that will teach you how to create a pattern.
This one does not look too complicated.
And so this is a really simple, easy one that you can do. So then from there, you're taking simple things like the good old trusty scissors, and you'll cut out that pattern piece. And when you cut out that pattern piece, you end up with the shape of this is the back of that hip pack. And so we use liner. This is a liner material, and then we use the jersey. You put the liner, the jersey, and the 4 pattern pieces together. stitch them together,
a
and
thing
you
that
can
looks like
create
it's a brand new item.
a brand new item out of it.
That is really cool. Let's look at some of the pictures and talk us through some of these things. That's finished product again.
Yeah, and so what we do on a lot of these things is, for example, the materials vary so much. There'll be NBA jerseys or sports jerseys, and there'll be even snowboard jackets, motorcycle jacket leather, architectural felted wool. This is a Delta Airlines program that we did with Delta Airlines. They retired their old uniforms, and we recovered 350,000 pounds of Delta uniforms.
Good
and
for you.
It was their largest textile avoidance of landfill in any U.S. company in history. It's one of the largest programs.
I want to pick this one out because this is so pretty. It looks like a brand new bag. What is this made from?
So this is architectural felted wool. So you know when they make the sound panels that go into high-end buildings?
Yes.
So when they make those sound panels, the material is about this wide, and then there's the panel is about this wide, so there's about this much that gets left over every single time. And the manufacturer called us and said, hey, we don't want to throw this away, what do we do? And so we combined that with shoe leather scraps that we'd had recovered from one of our partners who makes shoes, and combined those to make this felt and leather tote.
That is really cool. So what items would you suggest that we look at home that we might be able to do? I mean, some of this may be too fancy for us to DIY, but we can still, reimagine jerseys.
Absolutely,
and things
you can do that. Another good example would be this this product right here, which was it's a toiletry bag.
Everybody
it's made from
needs
the
those.
Delta Airlines uniforms, and this is no different than taking some of your old clothes and being able to deconstruct those old clothes, find the right pattern piece online, and then develop a product and stitch it with your home machine.
And just Google it, because these things get, sometimes they get scuffed up or dirty, and you go out and buy another one for 20 bucks, and they probably, cost $2 to make or something like that.
Well, all of ours are made in the USA, so it's a little bit different price structure because we're paying U.S. labor wages for that as well. They're made in Portland and also in the state of Washington.
So let's talk about other upcycling projects you guys are involved with and things that might inspire us to do things with our stuff at home.
Yeah, so one of the things that this booty right here turns into this new bag right here, which becomes a lunch kit.
That's really cute.
So this is a really nice lunch kit that we created out of this. That, you can wipe it down, and it has
everybody the inside.
And it's a really easy lunch kit, and it just kind of fit into what fly fishermen would like to carry if they're going out on the river and that sort of thing.
And those are just boots that have been repurposed, so they have the same weatherizing on the outside and are really super useful.
That's correct.
So if we want to get started, let's say somebody had a lot of handbags at home that they don't carry around. How do you kind of get started just trying to be imaginative about what to do with this stuff?
Yeah, my recommendation would be to start with, actually, if you're willing to sacrifice the bag.
Yeah.
Then you need to start the
Oh, not me. I was just, it was an imaginary person.
What you would need to do is start with the deconstruction. So you would want to cut all of that, cut up the sides, up the seams and everything, and try and lay everything flat. So you get a really good idea of what you're working with and what your opportunities are from there. And then it's creativity and design. Sometimes you can look online at Pinterest and say, oh, look, that would be a really cool item to make, and these materials would work for that. So getting an inspiration around design, and then from there you can start to Google and see what kinds of patterns and products you might be able to use to create that.
That is awesome. Did you do that with your pocket?
Well, this is one of our inspirations. It's a Pendleton wool. It's one of our brand partners, and so this is an inspiration piece. Yeah.
That is great. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
Very nice to see all this. Okay, up next, a new round of Hot Topics with a few of our favorite panelists. We'll be right back.